Okay, so let's take a look at number 7. Okay, number 7, it's pretty much the same thing. We don't need the plus 5. Let's move it over. And so you have 4x squared minus 4x. And then we're going to go ahead and factor out the 4 from the first two terms. I mean, the only two terms on the left. Okay, and then we will go ahead and divide the 4 over. Okay, so negative 5 over 4. You have x squared minus x. Okay, and do the same thing, right? Divide the 1 by 2, so you have 1/2, so plus 1/2, and square that number on both sides. So what you have here, it's x minus 1/2, okay, square. And then negative 5 over 4, it's going to be added to 1/4. All right, so then you have negative 4 over 4, which is simply negative 1. And then you have x minus 1/2 square, and then any more space to the right. So I'm going to take the square root on both sides. All right, so I'm going to take the square root on both sides, and it's going to be plus or minus square root on the right. Ooh, you've got yourself an imaginary number because you have a square root of negative 1. So your answer is well, I'm going to go ahead and add the 1/2 to the right. Okay, that would be a good time. That would be a perfect time to add the 1/2 to the right. Yeah, so 1/2 plus or minus I. 1/2 plus or minus I. Done. Okay, simple, easy. No big numbers, right? Easy to handle. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 8. Now, for number 8, we'll go ahead and find out this. Find the solution, find the roots, okay? And at the end of it, I'm going to also make an attempt to prove my point again that completing the square, it's way better. It's way, way, way better than quadratic formula, okay? So same thing, move the 13 over, 9x squared minus 12x, okay? Factor out the 9. Now, I'm not sure if you realize something, that is, the best way to factor something out when things are not that nice is simply to put over the same number. So you want to factor out the 9, just go ahead, 12 over 9. Okay. Now, of course, you need to simplify this a little bit more because 12 over 9 is the same thing as 4/3. And you're going to go ahead and divide 9 on both sides. So you have negative 13 over 9 equals, what's on the left hand, what's on the left hand side? 4/3 x. Okay, all right. And then what's next is that we are going to divide this number by 2. What is 4/3 divided by 2 or times 1/2? Now, always keep in mind, you always want to reduce. You seek, you find ways to reduce if it's possible. In this case, yes, it is possible. And the reason why you always want to reduce first, because it can sometimes eliminate the chance of you doing any multiplication. And that would be nice, right? It's much better to not deal with big numbers. So much better to not deal with big numbers, okay? So therefore, we're going to add 2/3 square on both sides. Okay, 2/3 squares on both sides. So you've got x minus 2/3 perfect square on the left. And then you've got minus 13 over 9 plus 4 over 9. And negative 13 plus 4, it's negative 9 over 9 right there. And just like number 7. 9 over 9 is just 1. So you have a negative 1, basically. So x minus 2/3 square, it's equal to negative 1. You take the square root on both sides. So plus or minus square root of negative 1, it's going to be equal to, x minus 2/3. And then that's going to be your I. And then you would add the 2/3 over. And that's your answer. Isn't that lovely? Okay, isn't that lovely? Okay, so x equals to 2/3 plus I, plus or minus I. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, I'm gonna use quadratic formula, okay, for question number 8, just to illustrate how much of a headache it's gonna be. All right. So now we've got our ABC values. So x equals to negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. What's b? B, it's negative 12 plus or minus negative 12 square minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Now, if I look at this, I want to give up. Like, look at this part right here. 4 times 9 times 13. I mean, you really want to deal with these big numbers, okay? I mean, it's fraction with big numbers, and that's going to be like double the years. All right, so, well, let's keep going. 144 minus 4 times 9 is what? 4 times 9 is 36. 36 times 13. What's 4 times? What's that gonna be? Okay. 36 times 13. 360 plus 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9, so 108. So add them together, so it'll be 468. Okay, 468 all over 18. 12 plus or minus negative 324. Yes, 324 over 18. Do you know what's 324? I mean, it's a special number. I mean, I told you all to only know all the way up to 15. I don't know I mean, 16? No, 16 can't be, because 16 times 16 would get something the units digit would be, the ones digit would be 6. So maybe hopefully 18 square. What's 18 square? 18 times 18, 180. 8 times 8, 64, 144. So 320. Oh, yeah, so 18 square is 324. So 12 plus or minus, that'll be 18i over 18, and you split the 18. Let me go ahead and cross this out real quick. So you have 12 over 18 plus or minus 18i over 18. So 18 got canceled out, and that's just 2/3. So 2/3 plus or minus I. So now, see it for yourself. Okay, now I'm going to say, if I can read your mind, even though this is a video, I'm going to say, going to hate both. Okay, but if you have to pick one, I would say, I'm going to say completing square, it's just a lot more convenient, because you can simply not have to worry about big numbers. I mean, yeah, fractions, yes. I mean, you're dealing with fractions either way, but having these fractions are much better than looking at what, square root of 324 or negative 324. I mean, I don't even know that's a perfect square of 18, like until just now. So 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 you can see for yourself, okay? And the reason why we learn all these methods is to equip you with the ability to say, all right, you know, what can we do? And what are the tools available? Okay, what are the tools available? Now, fair comment. Okay, one fair comment is that we always want to find out if factoring is sufficient. Okay, if at all possible, we hope that factoring would do it. Okay, and in the future, most of the questions will be done by factoring. Quadratic formula, while I say, like, even though that I said that completing square, it's simpler than quadratic formula, that doesn't mean that I would just give up quadratic formula. The quadratic formula would still be considered as a safety net. Okay, I consider quadratic formula as a safety net, because it doesn't really matter if you can factor it or not. The quadratic formula would always work. Okay, you don't have to worry anything. It's just, big numbers. Sometimes, okay, not all the time, but sometimes, but it will always work. You want something that's always going to work to be on your side. Okay, completing the square is definitely something that you want to master. And in the future, it will happen. It will come back again. especially if you are taking calculus. This is a skill that will definitely come back. So I would sincerely hope that you can keep it just like how I keep it until this day. Okay, whether or not I will be a math teacher or not, but I happen to be a math teacher, so whatever. Okay, so that's it for the last lesson. So next video we will talk about well, I mean, this is the last video of this playlist, this lesson. Well, we have a test. So we will take a look at the review, next playlist, next series of video, and we'll go over some of my concerns, some of the easiest mistake that people would make. Yeah, so I want you to make sure that you can get ready for the test. Okay, so good luck.